Let's see, can I switch screens? Oh, I can. Okay. All right. So let's see if this is actually working. So let's see, YouTube. Okay, it is working. Huh. Okay, and then wheel. Let's take the wheel and go. But then we could lower it, I think. Okay. That's good enough to me. What up, what up? Okay, there we go. All right, so guys, what we have here is I don't know if anybody's in the live right now, but I've put Wheel of Fragrance on the computer. So now instead of going live on my phone, which we'll still do that from time to time, now we're going to make it so that I can be interactive with you guys and we can ramp up, because until now we've been doing all our lives kind of like showing my fragrances and all that jazz. But I wanted to actually be able to go online and show Fragrantica and show the Wheel of Fragrance and do the Wheel of Fragrance game show on the on my computer, because we can't do Wheel of Fragrance with my cell phone. So this is a test run stream. It's an experiment. I didn't expect anybody to tune in because I didn't make the announcement, but this is just a test. So I want to know, guys, if you could help me out, all you guys who have been supporting the channel. Is the video vertical just like the cell phone? Is the audio good? Can you hear my voice clearly? Is everything matching up with my face, the audio and everything syncing? And I'm going to do a test run on the wheel. Let me know about the wheel as well. So you guys should be able to hear that clicking and spinning and all that good stuff. And occasionally the camera's going to cut out here and there, but that's okay. Okay, so let me know if you guys heard all that. I'm relying on chat, guys, so I need you guys to help me out. This is a test run stream, so that if this is all Gucci, we're going to have this in the future to be able to do. We'll be able to transition from my studio and the fragrances in my studio to my computer where we're going to do the game show. And I'm going to bring people online as well, so I can bring multiple people and whatnot. So yeah, audio check and everything. Can you guys hear me? Is everything Gucci? I need some help in the chat. I'm going to log in on my cell phone. Okay, so now I got my live on my cell phone. Gucci. So far, I've got some interactions in the chat, but no one's really answering my question of, is the audio okay? Were you guys able to hear the wheel and all that good stuff? Let me know. What we're going to do is I'm going to spin this wheel. And I have different wheels that are themed according to different ideas, right? And so, for instance, when I spin this wheel, this is our Wheel of Fragrance Advanced Edition. So I'll explain to you how this wheel works. On this wheel, when I spin it, say for instance right now we just got earthy, okay? So when we play Wheel of Fragrance, this is a whole entertainment spin to fragrance. So I've got my collection here off to the side. If I spin for earthy, I now have 30 seconds to go find a recommendation of an earthy fragrance that I really like. And then we'll go on Fragrantica right here, show you the fragrance, show you the notes, show you where you can buy it. It's just supposed to be a really cool interactive way to talk about fragrance, where it's not just me showing 1,000 fragrances behind me and kind of just doing what everybody does. If you know my long form content, guys, you know that I already do stuff like that. So real quick, advanced properties. Can I go mono? I can go mono. There we go. There we go. So that should have fixed the audio quality if you were only hearing me on the right side. We just fixed that. Okay, so let's test this out. I'm going to watch this back and see how it goes. Okay, so serious fragrance. So I have 30 seconds to go get a serious fragrance. Okay. So what we have here is going to be for my serious fragrance. We are going to do Bentley for Men Black Edition. I'm actually going to turn the music off because I think the music's a little bit of a distraction, even though for you guys it's probably really quiet. So we're going to do Bentley for Men Black Edition. And we're going to pull it up right here. Where's Black Edition? Right here. Okay, so Bentley for Men Black Edition, to me, I always say that it, and thank you so much, Vlad. Really appreciate the feedback on the audio. No one was helping me out, so I appreciate that. Bentley for Men, let's talk about the house of Bentley. Bentley is obviously a car brand predominantly, but they do make fragrances. And some of the fragrances that come to mind when I think of car companies is like Mercedes-Benz. If you look at a lot of your discounters, you're going to see a lot of Mercedes-Benz. You're going to see not as much Bentley, but Bentley is still in the price range. Where you're going to find Bentley is going to be like your Sephora's located in a Kohl's or separately. You might catch it in, what the heck's the name of that place? It's Sephora-like, and I'm not sure if it's available in the States for you guys, if it's called the same place. But Bentley for Men Black Edition, Bentley in general, I think there's a big debate going on right now between who is the better house, Bentley or Mercedes-Benz. Now, if you're shopping at Ross a lot, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, all that stuff, you're going to see a lot of Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz OG, Mercedes-Benz Aqua, Mercedes-Benz Intense. There's going to be a lot of Mercedes-Benz. And it's really affordable. You can get a lot of Mercedes-Benz fragrances for around like 20 to 25-ish bucks for 100 ml. And they're very affordable. They're very suit and tie, also very masculine. They play off on a lot of citruses and like citruses on woods mostly with a touch of florals and stuff like that. And Bentley really does the same thing, but where I think they ramp it up a lot is going to be they use more herbals, more aromatics, more florals, but they still kind of have that citrus on woods earthiness. And I feel like they're a touch more masculine in terms of the sophistication than Mercedes-Benz, even though to me, I've reviewed the entire Bentley line and the entire Mercedes-Benz line, and I feel like they are insanely neck and neck. Like Mercedes-Benz has a lot of killer fragrances that are around the $20, $30 mark. Bentley has equally, 10 to 15 different fragrances that you can get from the $20 to $30 price point. And to be honest, like they shoot really well. Like 70 to 80% of all Mercedes-Benz and Bentley fragrances are stellar. They're phenomenal and affordable. Most importantly, a lot of times when you're south of the $30, $40 price point, you got to go with a clone or a dupe. In this case, you don't. So I have a lot of respect for Bentley. Their prices are insanely good. The sophistication in class is there. The layering is there. The perfumery is there. Nothing's ever synthetic about a Bentley fragrance. And they have a lot of different variations, but all of them have the same theme of just being hyper masculine, but very intriguing. And they smell expensive. The bottle presentation is phenomenal. And I can just think of a handful of Bentley fragrances off the top of my head that are just great. Bentley for Men Absolute, Bentley Black Edition, Bentley Intense for Men, Bentley Azure, Bentley Momentum Unlimited. There's just a lot, guys. And so the fragrance, obviously, that I picked was Bentley for Men Black Edition. I always say that this fragrance is, to be honest, it is what Creed Aventus should have been. Now, let me explain. Creed Aventus is a phenomenal fragrance. But when we talk about a fragrance in the same price point as Creed Aventus, you have to think about fragrances like Al Haramain's L'Aventure. You have to think about fragrances like Afnan Supremacy, Not Only Intense. And you have to think about Club de Nuit Intense Man. Very famous Creed Aventus clones that sit more in that $20, $30 range. Even though Bentley for Men Black Edition isn't a dupe fragrance, you still put it in the same category because it's like a $20, $30 fragrance. So even though this is a designer house, I don't put it on par with Creed just because it's not a clone, if that makes sense. So in the affordability category, you have to sit this next to L'Aventure, Afnan, and Armaf. However, I always say this is the fragrance that Creed Aventus should have been, not because the DNAs are the same, but because Creed Aventus, it's got the birch, it's got the pineapple, it's got the citrusy, sweet on woods. It's very classy, it's very masculine, it's very suit and tie, but you can play it down to semi-formal. And it's just widely renowned as kind of the go-to fragrances. Famous rappers wear Creed Aventus, Aventus Cologne, stuff like that. Guys like Drake. Drake is notorious for rocking Creed Aventus. And a lot of your older 30-plus rappers have come across Creed Aventus. It's kind of the flagship fragrance for Creed. Now, this is why I say that Bentley for Men Black Edition is what Creed Aventus should have been. A lot of people's gripe with Creed Aventus, and more specifically the clones, but they still have this gripe somewhat with Creed Aventus, is that if you're not a lover of kind of this pineapple, birchy, cedar, lemony vibe, the clones can come off quite harsh if you don't naturally like that zingy, sweet citrus vibe. And even in Creed Aventus, though it's smoother, you have to love the pineapple birchy note profile to really dig it. It's very circumstantial, similar to Terre de Hermes, for instance. If you don't love kind of this vetiver-y, strange but slightly sweet but bitter orange peel or blood orange vibe, a lot of people call that fragrance too unique, even though it's a mass appealing fragrance. A lot of people buy Terre de Hermes EDT, Terre de Hermes Parfum, and a lot of people buy Creed Aventus. So that's not necessarily a bad quality of Creed, or Hermes, but it's kind of what the people who don't like it, that's what they're turned off by. And so this is where Bentley for Men Black Edition comes in, guys, because it has the same, not the same DNA, but the same essence of the DNA. What do I mean by that? I mean this kind of very woody, Aventus hits on like a birchy, cedary type of vibe. So you get the woods. So it's predominantly woods and earthiness. But then on top, you have this citrus. You have this violet leaf. It's got the zing, but the zing's a little more toned down. So it doesn't come off as harsh. It's a smoother, slightly sweeter, rounded off top of citrus and florals sitting on woods. And that's where I say it's what Creed should have been, because I think a fragrance like Bentley for Men Black Edition is a much higher appeal to the common audience, even though the Creed fragrance is much more purchased because that's the name that gets thrown out. A lot of people, when they see Bentley, even though Bentley is a very prestigious car brand, they're not thinking or taking seriously the fragrance lines, unless you're really into fragrance. Anybody in FragCom knows that Bentley has some of the most affordable bangers of all time, similar to Lalique. Lalique has a lot of fragrances sitting south of the $50 price point that are absolute killers. They murk a lot of these $100, $200, $300, $400 fragrances any day of the week, and they are 1/20th of the price and much more available. So, Bentley for Men Black Edition doesn't really play on pineapple or lemon. It mostly plays off of orange. And we're going to look at the DNA profile real quick. I know I'm long-winded, but again, this is a test stream, so I'm kind of just trying to go with the flow here. But look at this note profile. So elegant, so classy. We have violet on top, tangerine, this kind of tangerine. It comes off very fresh orange citrus, but, you know, tangerine is what it says it is. It's unique, but I don't think it's quite tangerine-y. Pink pepper, which is actually very smooth. You guys know me. When I talk about pepper, I always despise black pepper. If you have white pepper, Szechuan pepper, pink pepper, those are normally smoother bites, whereas black pepper tends to be brash a lot of the time. There are some fragrances that have a very nice rendition of pepper. However, I typically say go with anything that says something else with the pepper. In this case, pink pepper. The bite is extremely smooth and classy still. It's not harsh at all. Nutmeg on the top. Middle notes, we have papyrus, earthy notes, patchouli, sweet notes, and jasmine. I get all of that. I get this freshness, earthiness, kind of like this soily freshness, but very aerated. But mostly in that mid, we're getting that patchouli, this kind of sweet candied tangerine. Not so much candied, but there is slightly above slightly sweet, if that makes any sense. And then the jasmine and papyrus green it up, freshen it up. And then in the base, similar to where Creed Aventus will do birch, we have Atlas cedar. So cedar and birch can come off fairly similar, you know, that zingy wood. We have moss, incense. Incense here is kind of creating this classiness and playfulness. So in a nutshell, this fragrance is like masculine, but the characteristics of it is classy, classy, citrus, touch of sweet, mysterious. And that mysterious comes from that tobacco note. I really get incense, my bad. The tobacco doesn't really come through this at all. Tonka bean is there as well, just adding to the sweetness, but it's not extremely prominent. You can get this fragrance right now on fragrancebuy.ca for probably around, I would say, comfortably you can get a fragrance like this for about $25. On your best day, you're going to get it for about $20, 100 ml. And for that, it's just an insane grab. I think it's a 25 and up fragrance. I think it is a any season, any reason fragrance. I think it is... I think a fragrance like this shines in spring and summer, but it's mostly any season, any reason for sure. It's just as versatile as Creed Aventus, and it gives you a variation of the Creed Aventus DNA that's different. You know, a lot of people in the hierarchy of fragrance smell like Creed Aventus. A lot of people have Creed Aventus, or at least a Creed Aventus clone. A lot of people don't have Bentley for Men Black Edition, or even Bentley fragrances in general. Unless you're really a part of FragCom, then you have to come across them because of the respect level in the community of is so high. Sprays on this, it's an average performer, like 7 out of 10. I think spray-wise, you have to go 6 to 8 sprays to get you through an 8-hour shift. But for this type of profile, you want to grab a travel spray so you can spruce up later. I don't really think you need to be suit and tie masculine for the entire day. But if you work all day, every day, and that's all you do, keep a bottle of this on hand. We're going to go to the chat now real quick. Vlad says, I don't like the original Bentley cologne. Is the black one any similar? Absolutely not. Most of the Bentley fragrances only share a similarity in that they are hyper-masculine, north of 25 years old type of fragrances. They all have this nice youthful freshness to them where you don't feel like an old man at all. You feel like a classy, young, up-and-coming millionaire type of DNA. And then they go in the rabbit hole of variation with different things like herbal, aromatic, fruit, citrus, woods, florals. They really kind of sweep through a wide range of masculinity, and all their fragrances, though they share that masculine edginess, they all have different DNAs. So no, if you look at Bentley for Men Black Edition at the note profile here, it is not the exact same nor close to Bentley Cologne. But yeah, Bentley is one of those lines where you want to take like $30 and just get 2 to 3 ml test versions of the entire line. and then make your decision as to which ones that you love. I think probably 60 to 70% of the entire Bentley line is worth having. And you can own 60 to 70% of the Bentley line with like 120, 140 bucks is going to get you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 to 7 bottles of 100 ml Bentley fragrances. And we're not talking a clone. So that's incredible. That's the price of one fragrance. So you really can't lose getting a fragrance like this. And I think Bentley for Men Black Edition is probably at least in the top 3 or 4 of the best fragrances specifically from Bentley. Any good Absolute Aventus clones? I'm going to be honest, not that I've come across yet, but when you think of just standard Aventus, Creed Aventus clones, you have to start with a tie between Al Haramain's L'Aventure, which, can I pull that up here on the screen? Let's see. Al Haramain L'Aventure right here. That is going to be top 2 best Creed Aventus fragrances. And then we have Afnan Supremacy Not Only Intense, which is another phenomenal clone. L'Aventure and Not Only Intense are considered the, under the $30 price point, the best Creed Aventus clones, and they have slight variations, one being smoother. I forget the difference between the two, but those two are the closest together. And then obviously the most popular one is Club D Nuit Intense Man, which is also another great frag. However, it is not better than, it is not smoother and not better than L'Aventure and Not Only Intense. All sit around the same price point, and those are all phenomenal fragrances to have in your collection. 100 ml, under 30 bucks. You get that Aventus DNA, and it's quite phenomenal. Looks like a nice noted fragrance. Absolutely. Scandal Absolute. Okay. Do you think Afnan Tarathi Brown is a good cheap buy? I'm going to be honest. Afnan Tarathi Brown, let's go ahead and pull that up here. Tarathi Brown is a good fragrance. It's very close to Tuxedo. Tuxedo is a phenomenal DNA. I always call it kind of the 007 fragrance. If you're in a casino, you've got that boozy, vanillic, tuxedo-y, suit and tie ballroom vibes. And Tarathi Brown is one of the, I believe, top 3 renditions of Tuxedo. And for the price, I think you can probably get Tarathi Brown for around the $30 to $40 price point, I believe. Let's see. $32. Yeah, so for that price, you really cannot go wrong, and it smells very close to Tuxedo, probably about 90%. Let me show you another alternative that I actually rock with heavy, that I think, let's see, what am I looking for? Okay. This is another super slept on clone of Tuxedo that I think not enough people talk about. If you look in Fragcom, everybody talks about this fragrance as a quick review, but then a lot of people kind of stick to Tarathi Brown. They don't ever outright say that they choose Tarathi Brown over this fragrance, but I think this fragrance doesn't get a lot of love because when you talk about the House of Maison Alhambra, I feel like there's different clone houses that we take more seriously in Fragcom, and Maison Alhambra is kind of this house that everybody respects them because they have a lot of bangers, but because they make so many fragrances, certain fragrances stand out over others based off sales, not necessarily DNA. But there's another point to Maison Alhambra, and that's that they're very hit or miss. I would say 50% of all Maison Alhambra fragrances are absolute fire, and 50% of Maison Alhambra is utter garbage. And I think that might be because they make so many fragrances so often. But this fragrance is an absolute banger. When we talk about vanilla, I want to say cinnamon. Let's see. See if we can pull this up. Kismet. When we talk about vanilla, booze, okay, so we have woods and nutmeg on top, patchouli, sandalwood, cacao, and coffee in the mid, and then base notes of vanilla and vetiver. This is a ballroom, seductive, juicy, boozy. It's got a booze note similar to Bentley for Men Intense, but Bentley for Men Intense leans fougere. It kind of has this barbershop booze. This is more of a vanilla ice cream with spices, very woody, seductive type of not mysterious, just seductive, borderline gourmand. But I think on the sweet scale, it's only about a 4 or 5, but it pushes gourmandy just because of that strong vanillic nutmeg note. But this is an absolute sleeper to Tuxedo, and this is actually cheaper. I think Kismet you can get for about $18 to $20 comparatively to Tarathi Brown, which is going to run you about $30 to $40 after shipping, unless you have Amazon Prime. But yeah, Kismet is an absolute sleeper. Let me show that to the camera. And you get 100 ml. And this fragrance is just seductive, and it's one of Maison Alhambra's better renditions. What else do we got here? Do you think Jean-Paul Gaultier Scandal Absolute? Okay. Yeah, I mean, cool. Male sandalwood frag. Well, I mean, this has sandalwood in it, plenty of it. Maison Alhambra Kismet. A lot of fragrances have sandalwood, man. You know, like a good 50, 60%. So, I mean, there's so many good sandalwood fragrances. Just go on Fragrantica and click sandalwood, and it'll show you all the top frags for sandalwood. I don't want to go into my collection and pull out a ton of sandalwood fragrances, but Kismet absolutely has some great touch of sandalwood in it. And like I said, 60% of fragrances have sandalwood in it. Off-Non Supremacy Gold for Uni. Is it a good option? I'm going to be honest, bro. When I look at the reviews of the Off-Non house for the Supremacy line, I don't see a lot of favorable remarks about gold. I think there's just better options for the fragrance. Not that I've put my nose to, but I don't think Supremacy Gold is going to be a good bet. Let's just look generically here. Supremacy Gold. I've just heard too many so-so reviews of this. So here's the note breakdown of it. When it comes to iris fragrances, there's really only 3 clones, in my opinion, that you can even hold a candle to. When we talk about kind of the Dior Homme powder or the DHI, Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum type of DNA, which this isn't, but it's reminiscent. Let's see what people are saying about the fragrance. Yeah, Off-Non makes clones, but I have no idea what this is supposed to clone. I'm into male, not female fragrances. It's very sweet. Opening is off-putting. However, it's gotten better in the 2 years I've owned it. Dry down is nice and performance is great. It's definitely growing on me. Cooler weather. Yeah, so I mean, for a sweet fragrance, it's not bad. But I don't hear anybody say anything special about this DNA. I think there's a lot of other options. How to make your perfume last if you sweat too much. Don't sweat. I mean, either don't sweat or buy a more beast mode fragrance. You can use stuff like Molecule 1. You can use lotion, different things, creams and stuff that you can put on your arms. Non-smelling lotions and stuff like that, Molecule 1, stuff like that. You can also pair your fragrance with another fragrance. You can also select higher performer fragrances. So for instance, if I'm using Dior Sauvage Elixir clone over here with my Lattaf is Assad, for instance, doesn't matter how much you sweat, that fragrance is going to hug you like a giant burly bear. So it definitely is dependent on picking fragrances with better performance, but you can also, shower up so that your pores are open, put some scentless lotion, or some type of oil base, or use things like Molecule 1, stuff like that. But yeah, higher performers and putting stuff on skin is going to increase performance. And, that's just that. If you sweat a lot, don't put on a fresh fragrance. Don't put on a spring summer fragrance if you sweat a lot. Body chemistry is a huge thing. So if you sweat a lot, your chemistry is messing up a lot of fragrances that are on your skin. It's altering the DNA completely. So, um, what is another aspect of it? Hygiene is a big aspect of it. You know, what type of soaps are you using in the shower? Are they healthy for your skin? Do they leave oils on your skin? You know, if you're using body washes and shower gels and stuff like that, you're leaving a lot of oily, scented residue on your skin that will interact very poorly with the fragrances when you put them on. This sounds very archaic, but if you want to have like the best skin for receiving fragrance, whether you're using lotion or not, you know, going to like a African black soap, which is just going to scrape off all your previous day's dead skin and oils and make sure that your skin is absolutely clean to be able to hold fragrance despite sweating. So we got African black soap. We have bar soaps like Lever 2000. Irish Spring, although I wouldn't use Irish Spring personally because it's scented, but yeah, you want to use cleaner bar soaps to shower with and avoid anything oil-based or fragranted, and that'll help as well because even though you might, here's the thing, if you're sweating, but you're clean sweating, meaning you're just sweating water and not oil as well, that helps too, because then even though you sweat, the fragrance is still there. It's not being diluted down and mixed around with other chemistries as much. So I hope that helps you out, buddy. And trust me, I know about humidity, even though I have a dry heat because I'm in Arizona. It's north of 100 degrees. So even though it's not humid at all, that dry heat still north of 100 is making you sweat quite a bit. So I totally understand. Another thing is spray more on clothes rather than skin. If your skin is what's diluting down the fragrance, get a beast mode fragrance and throw it on your clothes and spray more. A lot of people stay south of 5 sprays, and I don't understand it. People think 5 to 10 sprays is crazy. If you look at any fragrance reviewer online, they are so comfortable spraying north of 10 sprays, it doesn't even, there's too many to count. Again, it's dependent on how the performance is of the fragrance. There's fragrances, so for instance, like Atlas or Sauvage Elixir clones or Aventus, where I'm not going over 4 or 5 sprays. But if you're dealing with a spring or summer fragrance and you're spraying south of 6 sprays, you're never going to get good performance, almost ever, in like 90% of cases. So that's another thing, is just spray more on skin. Yeah, if you do 10 sprays of something like Creed's Silver Mountain Water, right away, that black current's going to be in the air throwing you off. But if you spray 10 times, stand outside for a minute and let it dry down, let yourself aerate, or go walk around the house for a minute after you spray and let it settle, and you'll then be able to tolerate that much sprays. But trust me, in this game, 50 to 60% of all fragrances, you got to hit 6 to 10 sprays just to get through an 8-hour shift. And that's just the reality of it. You might not be used to it at first, but trust me, if you're spraying south of 5 sprays, tell me how many compliments you get per all the fragrances that you're trying out. It's going to be slim to none. Thoughts on Jack of Clubs by Fragrance World? I think a lot of people like Jack of Clubs. I'm going to be honest, I'm just not a big fan. I think it's like a good average fragrance, but I don't think it's anything to write home about in terms of something you're just going to wear all the time. It's going to be a seasonal frag that you kind of wear a lot right when you get it, and then it's just going to be something you kind of pop out with. But it's not like a showstopper. It's a very 7 out of 10 fragrance, but nonetheless, it is a good fragrance. It's not a bad fragrance at all. More memorable versions of Dior Homme Cologne. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very familiar with Dior Homme Sport, Dior Homme Intense, and Dior Homme Parfum. It's been quite a while since I've put my nose to DHC. DHC is extremely slept on, but I think DHC is a performance issue. You really have to ramp up sprays on that cologne, I'm pretty sure. But I think it's also a sleeper. You know, a lot of people sleep on that fragrance. It might just be because of the performance. But, you know, put up some Molecule 1, put some lotion on, make sure you're aerating, and go 10 sprays with that sucker. I just saw TCG fragrance or whatever, or TCG reviews. That dude just put on Dior Homme Cologne the other day and he did like 15 sprays like it was nothing. I almost choked watching him do it. But yeah, I don't have any alternatives to Dior Homme Cologne. And I don't really think I think Dior is a fragrance brand that you don't really need to look for dupes for unless we're talking Dior Homme. Because if you go on any fragrance group on Facebook Marketplace, you're going to find a lot of people who are selling Dior Homme Cologne, Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum. Not a lot of sport is online, but you're going to see a lot of people selling the main gunners for those fragrances, and they're selling them for half the price. You know, I just saw a crazy deal last week. Someone was selling Hermes's H24, which is a north of $100 fragrance. It's very slept on comparatively because it smells kind of like bananas, to Terre de Hermes and Eau Givre and a lot of Hermes fragrances. Someone was selling 100 ml H24, 5 bottles for $20 a bottle. I mean, it just reminded me how much I need to go on Facebook Marketplace or Facebook groups, not Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups. People are selling killer deals, and all these bottles weren't used at all. These were all bottles that they had sprayed one time. So they were full bottles for $20. They were also selling Terre de Hermes EDT for $30. I mean, it was just like insane. So with Creed fragrances, with Parfum de Marly, with what is some other houses? Just some powerhouses. Creed, Parfums de Marly. Then your designer houses like Dior, Gucci, Armani, all these fragrances. You're going to find them on Facebook groups for almost half the price every single time for full bottles. So Dior Homme Cologne is just something where you should just get Dior Homme Cologne, and if you don't like the performance, spray it on 10 times or throw some Molecule 1 on or some lotion underneath. You'll be fine, bro. You'll be fine. Also consider doing travel sprays. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, I think, sleep on taking a travel spray and throwing it in your pocket so you could spruce up later. That is also extremely slept on. I don't see any more chat going on, so let's go ahead and spin a couple more times, and then we'll probably sign off in like 10, 20 minutes. Thank you guys for your interactions in the chat. I'm really happy that this worked out, because normally when I go live, I'm going live on my cell phone, but right now I'm going live on my computer so we could play this game show, because eventually I'm going to have popular fragrance reviewers on this picture where I am now, and I'm going to be in the bottom kind of on some Jeopardy type stuff, doing Wheel of Fragrance with special guests that you guys have seen. So thank you guys so much for your interactions. It's showing me that this is working. So we're going to save these settings. Playful fragrance. I got 30 seconds. Let's get it. Oh, shoot. All right, guys. Playful fragrance that I am absolutely in love with. Let's go over it. So here I'm dealing with Club de Nuit Milestone. Okay. Millésime Imperial. About 90 to 95% accurate to Millésime Imperial by Creed. Let's go to pull up the note profile. I think out of the Club de Nuit line, Milestone is heavily slept on. People hear watermelon and they get very turned off. This is not some fruity, feminine watermelon. This is the most masculine that you can get when it comes to watermelon. 100 ml, $25, 90 to 95% close to Millésime Imperial. It might even have better performance than Millésime Imperial. This is an 8 to 10 hour fragrance. What do you have here? It's kind of like this play on a salty sea marine aquatic with a predominant note of this very ambery, fire hot watermelon. This is like a watermelon wine reduction. Okay, this isn't like fruity, spritzy, bright watermelon. It's bright, but it's subdued. It's very ambery. It's very warm. And then behind it, you just have all of this class. I believe vetiver is also in it. We don't know because it just says woodsy. Okay, so sea salt and fruit notes up top. Don't be intimidated by that at all. This is not like Sublime. This is not like the white bottle of I forget the name of the fragrance, but don't be intimidated by fruit notes. This is watermelon, okay? Um, in the mid, we've got Sicilian lemon, bergamot, iris, and mandarin orange. Really, all I'm getting in that mid is this kind of like irisy orange. And then in the base, we have sea notes, musk, and woods. Guys, this is surprisingly masculine to me. I think it's a unisex fragrance. Milestone by, who is this? Armoff or Offnon? Armoff. So, oh, this is the actual, my bad. I had Millesime Imperial pulled up. This is surprisingly masculine. I think it might be unisex listed, but yeah, for men and women. I actually think this leans masculine, to be honest, because that watermelon note is very warm, very wine reduction-y, like a glaze almost. So it's got this playfulness. If you're going on a yacht, if you're going to a pool party, or if you're going to be on a beach, this has to be in your collection. This is a head turner. My wife and I celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and we went to a 5-star world-class hotel. You know, this hotel resort had a pool that waterfalled into a pool, that waterfalled into a pool. It had 3 stories of swimming pools, and it had over 8 swimming pools in total. And they all just kind of fell into each other. The resort overlooked the entire waterfalling infinity pools or whatever. And I had a few fragrances that I brought, but I wound up only wearing Milestone because it was just, I didn't put respect on it because I like the DNA, but I didn't think it would perform as insane as it did. It literally popped off my skin, and it had this masculineness, but it had that playful watermelon, but the watermelon still kind of had this masculine vibe to it. And this was just turning heads. This wound up being the only fragrance I wore at the resort because it just had so much allure. It's almost like a mystery watermelon. But I hate just saying watermelon with this fragrance because, as you can see, it's got the sea notes, this kind of salty sea, but super aromatic, fresh, violet, whitewood, sandalwood, musk, ambroxan, and vetiver. I knew it had vetiver in it, but the vetiver and musk kind of just add this background of sophistication. The violet super flares it off as like fresh and crisp, even though it's kind of got this warm, ambery watermelon. The red fruits on the note palette here is just watermelon. It doesn't smell like anything else. Bergamot, not so much in the fragrance. $25, 100 ml, any season, any reason. This is a water fragrance. Anything by the water, you are going to turn heads. This is a 8 to 10 hour fragrance. 4 to 6 sprays will pretty much get you through the entire day. It stays on clothes, and it is a 90 to 95% rendition of Millesime Imperial by Creed. Again, Armoff's Club de Nuit, Milestone, an absolute staple in the community. It is not like L'Immensité. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, it's not like L'Immensité, guys. It's like L'Immensité, I believe, is just like very citrus leaning. What the heck? Yeah, so, you know, when you smell L'Immensité, it's just got like this, again, that grapefruit, ginger, bergamot wateriness and amber is like the predominance. of this fragrance. And so it's very citrus ginger bright. Milestone, just look at it comparatively. Milestone is, see, if you're looking at Millesime Imperial, I can see how you might think they're similar. But if we're looking at Milestone, oh, Armoth, what am I doing? If we're looking at Milestone, it really leans more on red fruits. And that vetiver, that red fruit watermelony vetiver is like 60-70% of this fragrance. So it goes a different direction. Can they both be used near water? Absolutely. Are they both predominantly spring, summer bangers? Absolutely. But I actually feel like L'Immensité, even though it's a great fragrance, it doesn't have a better performance than this, and it doesn't have as much signature. And that's one of my biggest gripes with Louis Vuitton in general is when you look at L'Immensité, let's see. When you look at Imagination, Pacific Chill, Afternoon Swim, and L'Immensité, I feel like they kind of overdo the citrus ginger combo. Like, you don't need all of Pacific Chill, L'Immensité, Imagination. One or two of those and you feel like you have all of them. And that note profile, the only thing that makes it special with Louis Vuitton is that it's expensive. So they're using higher quality ingredients and it just rings off seemingly signature, but the note profiles are never very signature. Millesime Imperial is extremely signature. Club de Nuit Milestone is extremely signature. Do you like Orage? Oh, you're talking to him. How strong is the Ambroxan base note? It's not that strong, bro. It's not that strong. Like I said, man, predominantly watermelon, amber, vetiver. But the watermelon is very warm, very fiery, very masculine, surprisingly. It's not like Nitro Red or any of these fragrances that are just like candy. Mind Games clone, you're going to have to just look that up, Isaac. There's plenty. When I think of amber citrus, I think of Bulgari, Bulgari Tiger, I'm pretty sure you're referring to, L'Immensité or Dylan Blue. Dylan Blue is obviously extremely popular. In the rich category, L'Immensité is kind of popular. I mean, people know of it, but not a lot of people own it. Bulgari Tiger is another one like L'Immensité where a lot of people know of it and have smelled it in Neiman Marcus, but not a lot of people pull the trigger on it. But a lot of people do pull the trigger on it. It's just because it's in the rich category, most people go with the clones, okay? They're going to grab, Immortel. They're going to get 120 ml of juice, and they're only going to pay $20 for it. I think L'Immensité is worth getting a clone for. I don't believe it's worth buying the bottle. Even though I have the bottle, I have to have the originals of all of the fragrances that I review because I just don't feel comfortable telling you guys to get Milestone if I don't have Millesime Imperial right here to tell you guys whether the fragrance is worth getting the OG. Same with Bulgari Tiger. I feel like that DNA is so played out that you're just better off getting Afnan Tarathi Blue, and calling it a day. Tarathi Blue is very close. 90%. It's got average performance, but because it's only a $20 fragrance, I actually got it on the TikTok shop for $11, 100 ml. You could spray yourself with this 10 times, smell just like Tiger, and call it a day. You don't need to spend Tiger money. Now, there are some fragrances that I feel you have to get the originals, like when we talked about Dior Homme Cologne, for instance. It's just worth getting the original because you can get the original and you can get it affordably. Tiger, you buy Tiger, and you're going to be having to write down the fragrances you want because you're not going to be able to get another fragrance for a couple of months, and you're not going to want to. But then it's going to get played out because citruses can only go so far with fragrances before you get tired of them. It's just like, okay, I'm over it. Is it blind buy worthy? If you're referring to milestone, I don't think it's blind buy worthy, and here's why. I'm telling you guys, and guys, I got to keep it real. I'm always going to keep it real with you. I'm telling you that if you're anything near water, you have to get milestone. It is signature. It is a beast mode fragrance, and it is extremely classy and playful. Everything that a man wants in a fragrance, it checks every box. But it's watermelon, right? So I would wear this for any water occasion. Anything. If I'm on a boat, if I'm on a yacht, if I'm in a hotel resort, if I'm in a pool party, if I'm on the beach, if I'm walking near a beach, if it's a windy day, I'm rocking milestone, and it's going to have a ton of signature and a ton of class and uniqueness. But because the watermelon note is so predominant, it's not a fragrance that I can just tell you is blind buy worthy. I would say, yes, it's blind buy worthy because it is, even if you don't like it, there's millions of people that would buy this off of you. But because it's watermelon, not everybody universally loves the note of watermelon, especially in the way that this has done this. So I would comfortably tell you to get a sample. But again, the sample is going to cost you after shipping probably anywhere between $3 to $6. You're already almost halfway to a full bottle. If we're talking price alone, it's absolutely blind buy worthy. But if you don't like watermelon at all, don't step near this fragrance. I think personally, this is the best rendition of watermelon I have ever smelled. Not because it smells like bright, crisp watermelon, but because this is the only watermelon clone I've ever smelt that somehow gives it a very masculine-leaning flair. Again, it is a unisex fragrance, but somehow it still leans masculine. You don't feel feminine wearing this fragrance. So, yeah, hopefully that gives you enough juice to make a decision on it. But, yeah. Louis Vuitton raised prices tremendously. Yeah, I mean, dude, listen, man. I have about 5 Louis Vuitton clones in my collection, and I've yet to smell a Louis Vuitton fragrance that I think is worth the $300-$400 price point for 100 ml. And I've yet to smell a DNA from Louis Vuitton that I want 100 ml of. So for that reason, you know, I have L'Immensité, I have Meteor, I have Pacific Chill. I have, or it might be Afternoon Swim. I forget because I don't wear a lot of Louis Vuitton all the time. I have, there's another one. I have Matiere Noir. I have like 4, and I'm so fine with the clones. The clones are phenomenal. I actually think that, that Matiere Noir is super slept on. Any good imagination clone, like 80-85 accurate? Absolutely, bro. Hey, listen. Oh, yo, shout out D4G, bro. What up? Hey, listen. D4, bro. First off, I need you to text me. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to show you a wheel because I was actually testing this stream out on my computer so I could run my game show, my Wheel of Fragrance. I have... matter of fact, let me pull up the other wheel that I want to get you on. And we're going to get back to the questions in just a sec. Y'all just be easy for me for a second. Wheel of Fragrance. Here we go. So here's my Wheel of Fragrance. I actually would love to get you on the Job Edition. I just made Job Edition. Wheel of Fragrance Job Edition. Check this out, bro. Okay, so Wheel of Fragrance Job Edition, I have like 30, 40 jobs listed. And when we spin this wheel, it's going to land on a category. Now, on all these categories, you have 30 seconds when we hit it to select the fragrance that pairs best with this occupation. So for instance, right now, pet store. I tried to put a serious range of different occupations, outside, indoors, rich, you know, low income. So for instance, when we hit pet store, this is a funny one. You have 30 seconds to go get a fragrance that somebody that works at a pet store might wear. So we run the clock, we play music while you're getting the fragrance. And then as you pick the fragrance, we pull it up here on Fragrantica, look at the notes as you talk about why that would be the best fit. Now, I have other wheels of fragrances that are more personal, but I actually think you would go crazy on Job Edition. But I have 3 different wheels, so definitely make sure you text me, and I want to stream it on horizontal, the horizontal mode on YouTube, long form content. I'm testing out my computer. This is the first night that I haven't went live on my cell phone. I'm actually going live on my computer so I can do Wheel of Fragrance with other streamers when I go live, not just when I do my long form content. So definitely holler at me, bro. You're gonna love it. Trust me when I say you're gonna love the horizontal. And by the way, the tip I was gonna give you, bro, before I forget, is when you go vertical on YouTube, let me tell you something. When you go vertical on YouTube, not horizontal on your lives, this is only for lives. Right now, I have several homies of mine that have million subscribers on YouTube. Right now, YouTube is specifically rewarding people who go live on their phone or, like me, can set up a vertical format to appear as if I'm on my cell phone. They are doing crazy organic traffic. Now, I'm going to tell you, my last live did 4,000 views and had thousands of people come onto the channel. I only have I'm not even cracking 800 subs, even though I've only had my channel live for 30 days. So 830 days is still great numbers. You know, I'm getting like 100, 150 followers a week or whatever. But they are throwing so much organic traffic to people who are respecting the vertical lives. So if you need any help setting that up on your computer to still be able to do your different text boxes and stuff like that, let me know, because you got thousands of followers, I'm pretty sure. So if you went live vertically, they would give you 4 times that amount of organic traffic. And trust me, I'm about to only start going live vertically because I'm getting 30 to 50 followers a night going live vertically, and I'm only an 800 person channel. You would be getting hundreds a night or hundreds a day going live vertically. So I don't know. My insider homies at YouTube be telling me that they always change which aspects of the app they reward. But right now, vertical lives are giving insane amounts of organic traffic. Every night it goes up for me. Like, I've never cracked under 1,000 people in the channel over the duration of my stream. My last stream did 4,000. Currently, right now, we're at 1,300 views for the channel, and we hit like a 70. We were at 70 at the peak, and we're still live. So I want to get you on for a horizontal long form so that I can repurpose it to you if you want to use it as well, because I love being mutually beneficial when we collab. So I want to make sure you get the value to be able to repurpose the content. But the Wheel of Fragrance show, you would absolutely love it, bro. It's super easy to set up, and we'd love to have you on. Everybody, make sure you follow D4G Fragrance. I feel like his personality and the lane of how he does content in fragrance is signature. And that's what I like. And I think that's why my channel has grown so fast quickly, because I'm not an expert, but you know, I'm sitting on like 300 bottles, and I don't talk about fragrances I don't know about. I smell all my OGs when I talk about the clones, so you're getting accurate information. And people just love my passion, bro. So people have been gravitating to the stream really quick. So if you like my channel, without question, you're going to love D4G Fragrance. Make sure y'all give him a follow. And and not only that, but this man covers a ton of fragrance. You want a channel that's constantly smelling the latest and greatest, and he's got dope personality, so make sure y'all follow him. But yeah, I'm not doing pet store because we're about to close out stream soon. I want to take questions, so we're going to go back to Advanced Edition. I might do one more wheel spin. But real quick, let's go through Pacific Chill, clone or dupe, no, Imagination. Honestly, almost all of the Imagination clones are above 80% accuracy. Give me one sec. What's great about the Imagination clones is with Imagination, there's so many clones, right? Like, I can think of at least 4 bottles off the top of my head. If you went with the cheapest Imagination clone, now listen, We're not talking about most accurate. We're just talking right now about affordability. If we talk about the most affordable, let me say this. When it comes to the clones of imagination, what you're really trying to distinguish is whether you want more juice or more accuracy. There's a lot of imagination clones that hit more of like the 90%. I don't think any really crack over 95%. Unless you're paying north of $50 for the fragrance. There are some Louis Vuitton clones that sit around the $50, $60 price point that, in my opinion, when you get to $50, $60, everything should be north of 90%. And it's got to be an absolute banger before I don't go on a Facebook group and just pick up the real thing for half the price. But this is the cheapest clone on the market of imagination. It's called Intimation. And Intimation is one of those fragrances where it might only be 80% close to imagination, but it smells great. It's not super synthetic. And this fragrance, I think, runs about $20 is what I'm catching it for on the West Coast. Now, let me tell you why I bought Intimation. I bought Intimation, number one, because a lot of people talk about it, and I needed to see all of the different imagination clones. But what I'm seeing is that most people cop this for the juice. You're getting 120 ml for $20. Now, I took it a step further because a lot of people are afraid of the TikTok shop. Okay? On the TikTok shop, I am getting insane deals, and I have yet to be duped on fragrances. No one's switched out the bottle or anything. They're all gunners. I've probably bought about 20 fragrances for less than like $120. It's insane. All 100 ml bottles. And you just have to know the seller because you get so many coupons on TikTok shop. It's not even funny. Your first purchase on a TikTok shop, you're getting almost 50% off of any purchase you get. For that alone, it's insane. But on the TikTok shop, I got Intimation for like $9. So you're going to tell me why I shouldn't buy Intimation for $9, 120 ml of juice, Louis Vuitton fragrance, 80% accurate? You can't tell me nothing, bro. There's a lot of decent imagination clones, and the reason why is because it's a note profile that's not hard to copy. Okay? Let's look at, do they have Intimation on Fragrantica? Probably not. But let's look at Imagination. So let's look at this note profile. Citron, bergamot, orange, neroli, ginger, cinnamon, black tea, and Broxton Gaiac wood and olibanum. Mostly in this fragrance, you're going to get the black tea, the neroli, the ginger, and then the citruses up top. It's basically citruses, ginger, neroli, black tea for me. You know what I'm saying? The other notes do come through, but those are like kind of your star players. Citruses, neroli, ginger, and tea is not a hard DNA to come by. Now, if you smell the actual Imagination, you respect it, right? Because it's not just citrus, it's citron. It's not just bergamot, it's Calabrian bergamot, it's Sicilian orange, not just orange. It's not just neroli, it's Tunisian. It's not just ginger, it's Nigerian ginger. Ninja. YouTube almost just canceled me. But anyways, you know, it's not just black tea, Chinese black tea. Like, they're really trying to get on their Tom Ford with putting signature at everything. It's not just orchid. It's a patented orchid that only Tom Ford has because he bought a trademarked patented orchid that's only grown by one man in California. So no one can copy black orchid to a T, even though many get close. So when you smell the actual thing, you respect such a simple note profile because they took it to another level with the variations. When you're smelling the clones, you're smelling pretty basic levels of orange, bergamot, neroli, and ginger and black tea. But because tea, ginger, neroli, and citrus is not a hard note to get in the cheap, they're getting 80% in the door off rip. So again, it becomes a question of, to me personally, citruses on ginger, neroli on black tea is not unique enough for me to want to wear every single day. I'm going to get tired of the note profile. So I don't want 100 ml of the bottle unless I'm getting it for the low. Even if you rocked the cheapest clone of Imagination, which is Intimation, again, I got it for $9 on TikTok Shop. You can comfortably get it for 20. You will feel good. You will not smell too much synthetics because it's cloning such cheap note profile, you know, citrus, neroli, ginger, right? Tea. And you're going to get 120 ml of juice for under $20 that you can feel comfortable hitting yourself with 10 sprays of this. And trust me, if you have Imagination, you're going to be hitting yourself with 10 sprays. So it gets to a point where it's like, do I want to drop $300-$400 on a fragrance that I have to ramp up on because spring and summer fragrances traditionally don't have a lot of performance north of the 6 to 8 hour mark? No, I'm going for the low. Now, thankfully, under $30, there's like 2 or 3 clones that I think I would recommend. And after that, you kind of get into the $50, $60 price point with Luciano and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that's my take on it, guys. This is such a simple DNA that really to really appreciate it, you'd have to actually buy the bottle. Now, thankfully, a lot of people sell decants of their Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is one of the most decanted fragrances of all time, anything from the line, because people will drop $200 to $400 on the bottle and they know they're not going to wear it all the time. It's not unique enough. So what do? They're going to decant it and sell it to you for $10, $20 because they know you can't afford it to try and recoup on their own money. Get a clone. That's just my take on it. And I mean, I got a lot of them, guys. I got a lot of them. Sometimes you have to base how much you're going to spend on a fragrance based off how much signature it has. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. I'm going to do one more spin and answer questions. Then we're going to sign off for the night because we've hit the 1 hour and 10 marker. Normally, if I'm awake enough, we'll go longer. But again, this was a test stream. Normally, I go live on the phone. But I appreciate all y'all for coming out and rocking with me. Hey, listen. My stream has said that consistently we have had between 30 and 70 viewers. Right now it's at 40 on my screen. Could you guys really do me a solid and like the video? Only 16 people out of all the people coming in and out have liked the video. I don't need a comment. I don't need anything like that. Could you just like the live? It allows YouTube to send more organic traffic to the channel. And it also means that when you tune into the fragrance wheel, you guys will have more people interacting in the chat and kicking game to one another, right? Isn't that what you want? A fragrance community? I'm trying to give it to you, bro. Let's do the last spin. Extreme Jet Bomber asked, what is ambroxan? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's from the category that smells very musky, amber, and animalic. It's and or. It's not all of this. Some of it can smell just musky, just ambery. It's like vetiver. Vetiver can come off inky, earthy, clean, soapy, woody, grassy. So it can smell like musk and or amber and or animalic. The odor profile is a modern synthetic compound with a dry, ambery, musky smell. It sits behind a lot of fragrances and it has the ability to make other fragrances feel more robust and pop off. But sometimes it can also come through as this kind of ambery musk that a lot of people appreciate. It's a very safe backbone note to put behind fragrances to make a fragrance have more performance. And we have rainy day, and I have 30 seconds to pick my fragrance. While I'm picking the fragrance, guys, any last minute questions for the scent bubble, please put it in the chat. I will be answering the final questions after I grab this fragrance. All right. So I have 2 fragrances for you guys here. And again, thank you so much to everybody rocking with me. I really appreciate you guys. You have no idea. This channel started off as a prank. I had my second son, and I wasn't able to be in my office as much to do stuff. And I only had like 30 minutes a night. I was really worn out every night. But I still wanted to do content. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a random fragrance channel. I'm going to educate myself on fragrance. I'm going to start buying a lot of fragrances. And 30 minutes a night, I would come in here and bang out several videos of reviews. I was learning with fragrance. I was growing with fragrance. and I shared that with the public. I didn't tell, you know, I have about 20,000 followers on my other social medias because I'm in the music space. I didn't tell anybody that I made this channel. I went incognito and just did organic traffic. I wanted to build an authentic, original, new fragrance community. And just from dropping my videos every day in the last 30 days, we're almost at 800 subscribers. And we've done almost 100,000 views in 30 days. So it's just been incredible. All the people have been tuning in, supporting, participating. It's been nothing short of amazing, and it's why I'm going to continue to run the channel. So again, I was going to stop doing the channel after like the 30 days, but the turnout has been so amazing. We're going to keep it going, and that's why I've dropped videos every single day for the last 30 days. So I appreciate y'all. Rainy day fragrances. We're going to talk about 2 clones, and then I'm going to talk about the originals. So the first fragrance we're going to talk about is Mahir Legacy Silver. Okay. This fragrance is cloning Creed's... No, it is not cloning Creed. This fragrance is cloning Parfums de Marly Sedley. Okay? When I describe this fragrance, I think I have the best description of this fragrance in the game. You're going to picture a mojito, right? Okay? Mojito. Look at that drink. Okay? Lime, mint, citrus, right? So picture this mojito, and this mojito is sitting on a sheet of metal that looks a lot like this. So that mojito is sitting right on here. You get that mint, you get that lime, but it's a rainy day. So that rain is falling into the mojito, and then it's overflowing off the mojito and hitting that sheet of metal. That's what Sedley smells like, and that's what Mahir Legacy smells like. Mahir Legacy Silver is about a $20 to $30 fragrance after shipping, and it is about 90 to 95% accurate to Sedley. And this is the note profile. Lime up top, mint, grapefruit, lavender, pineapple. Really, you only get lime, mint with the tiniest bit of grapefruit and lavender bite. And the lavender is more of like a freshness component. In the mids, you have black pepper. I normally hate the note of black pepper, but in the mid, you get, I normally hate the note of black pepper. I like pink pepper, Szechuan pepper, white pepper, etc. But this one is very smooth. There's 0 bite at all from black pepper. The only bite is from the grapefruit here. Rosemary, geranium, and frankincense. And in the base, we have that ambroxan, oak moss, tonka bean, my favorite, vetiver, and cashmeran. This is 90 to 95% close to Parfums de Marly Sedley. And you get 100 ml, and it's 20 to 30 bucks. You absolutely cannot beat it on the TikTok shop with free shipping. You can get it for about 20. And despite the crazy looking horse head bottle, you will have one of the best sporty outdoor fragrances ever. This is a beast mode performer. I would say 8 out of 10 on the beast mode scale. It's fairly loud. It's not Club de Nuit Intense Man loud, but it's loud. 8 out of 10. It's above average performer, easily an 8-hour fragrance. You put about 6 to 8 sprays on you. It's going to get you in through an entire shift in most of the day. It'll sit nicely on clothes. If you're outside aerating and stuff, you might have to go up to like 8 sprays to really get it popping. But this is nice because a lot of fresh fragrances have your typical citruses, but this one goes not only in the lime direction, but it has that mint. It's got that metallic. It's got that freshness, that mint. It's got bite. It's got a lot of complexity to it, but being that it goes off into the lime grapefruit category, it's more signature than your average citrus freshie. And they did a very good job. It smells somewhat synthetic just because of the metallics, but that's just because it smells like metal. It doesn't smell nasty synthetic. There's nothing jarring about this fragrance. Rainwater overflowing on a mojito that's overflowing on a shiny piece of metal for some metallic. The actual Sedley is metallic anyway, so this doesn't read as fake. It reads very fresh. A lot of great performance. Any season, any reason. Predominantly a great fragrance for warmer weather or outdoor. Beast mode of a fragrance when it comes to freshies with charm in the citrus category. This one must be in your collection. This is Lattafa's Mahir Legacy Silver. Don't get black, don't get gold. Second fragrance that we're going to end the night off with is going to be Afnan Supremacy in Heaven. When we talk about Silver Mountain Water, we normally always hear about Club de Nuit Sillage, which would be this fragrance right here. And a lot of the reason why we hear a lot about Sillage is because of the performance. Accuracy a little bit, but more so the performance. I think this sits more in the 85% closeness to Creed's Silver Mountain Water, but it's more of an inky metallic rendition of Creed's Silver Mountain Water, but it has beast mode level performance, which is hard to get with a fresh fragrance. So I also think because of what it's attached to, it gets more love. You know what I'm saying? The Club de Nuit line is so much more popular than Afnan. I feel, even though Afnan, a lot of people respect it and a lot of people wear it, a lot more people on Amazon are going to catch our moth. So anyways, when we talk about closeness to Creed Silver Mountain Water, Afnan Supremacy in Heaven is light years closer. If Sillage is 85, Afnan Supremacy in Heaven is 95% close. And what are we talking about here? We are talking about bergamot and orange up top, green tea and black currant in the mid, musk, wood, and sandalwood in the base. Fairly simple composition, but what I love about this DNA that I think makes it signature is most fragrances lean on the metallics or the citruses up top. This fragrance, even though it's in the mid, it very much encompasses the entire fragrance. 70% of this formulation is green tea and black currant. Black currant being way more dominant than the green tea, but it's there. I love this rendition because of the green tea and the black currant. It comes off more earthy, more Silver Mountain watery, and it's just more accurate. It's more earthy. It comes off with almost zero synthetics. And so this is the more accurate clone to me by at least 10%. I think it's 95% accurate to Creed Silver Mountain Water. It's fresh. It's unique. It leans on black currant and green tea, so it's not a typical citrusy fragrance. Comes off more earthy, but it is very masculine. This is a north of 25-year-old fragrance, 100 ml, $20. Bottle presentation is nice. You know, feel like you have a Viking fragrance. And it's just beautiful, man. So that was Lattafa's Mahir Legacy Silver and Afnan Supremacy in Heaven cloning Creed's Silver Mountain Water. Both of those fragrances you can get for $20 with shipping on TikTok Shop or Fragrance by CA. All right, let's answer some last minute questions and we're going to sign off and go pay some bills. Again, I appreciate y'all. Nitro Red. Somebody asked me to review Duman Nitro Red. Is it worth the buy? I think notoriously the community is saying that Nitro Red is worth the buy. I have it currently being shipped to my house. A lot of the reason why I stayed away from Nitro is because I felt a lot of people were comparing it as a watermelon fragrance to Club D. Sorry for that skip, guys. To Club de Nuit Milestone. And I'm going to tell you right now, this to me smells more masculine than Nitro Red. The watermelon note in Nitro Red, though it's ambery, is more candy-like. I feel like this is the only unisex watermelon fragrance that still appeals to the masculine man and just smells higher class. Whereas I feel with Nitro Dumont Red, it's just more playful. It's a very well-made fragrance, and we're going to be reviewing it here in the next week or so, but it's a lot more playful. If you want watermelon more masculine, get Milestone. If you want watermelon more playful, more closer to that unisex quality, you know, get Red. They call it a masculine fragrance, but I'm calling it unisex. What else? What does inky mean in cologne? It literally means ink. If you've ever smelled a little tub of black ink, that's what people are referring to. So for instance, with Ancre Noir, this black bottle, right? People say that this take on vetiver is very black inky, okay? The rendition of this vetiver is inky. So what do they mean? They mean it smells like black ink. This fragrance smells like the color of this bottle. Vetiver can come off very inky, and so can some other notes. So when people say a fragrance is inky, so like for instance, Club de Nuit Sillage, the silver bottle, they say that that rendition of Silver Mountain Water is inky. That means it smells like black ink. It's not the entirety of the note profile, but it has a very black inky-like feel. So it's very literal. Just joined. What are you comparing it to? Derby Blanc and Sillage? No, Lattaf's Mahir Legacy, Silver and Sillage. We were doing Wheel of Fragrance, and the category I got was Rainy Day. So I had 30 seconds to pick 2 great rainy day fragrances. And make sure you guys tune in more. We're going to do Wheel of Fragrance with special guests. I'm going to try to get D4G on here as well as a couple other guys, and really appreciate it. This is going to be a really cool game show that we start doing where we bring entertainment to fragrance. What else? Best Victory Elixir clone. Let's pull it up. Yee. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Here's the thing, right? Paco Rabanne is a cheaper fragrance, right? They're cheaper fragrances to buy. You might as well just go on a Facebook group on Facebook and find somebody selling this Paco Rabanne at half the price. Invictus Victory Elixir is all over Facebook, not the marketplace, but all of the different fragrance groups selling at half the price or even cheaper. I already thought that this fragrance was fairly cheap in fragrance anyway. You might as well stick to getting the original and just get it for cheaper off of Facebook groups. I think Invictus Victory Elixir doesn't have any star player clones yet in the space. Invictus Aqua absolutely has a ton of stellar clones. This fragrance, not so much. And when you find it on Facebook groups for around the $30, $40 price point, 100 ml, it just makes no sense to start surfing for clones unless the fragrance community just comes out with a stellar clone. This is a very typical note DNA. So that's another aspect of it. When you have typical DNAs, there's a lot of fragrances that kind of have this Invictus quality to them. Have you smelled Givenchy's Gentleman Only? Absolutely. That's the older gray bottle, right? Gentleman Only. I actually used to have a bottle of this. I love this. I don't think it's the best Givenchy fragrance out of this Gentleman line, but I used to have a 100 ml bottle of this. This is an older fragrance, I believe. Yeah, 2013. I was rocking it in the mid-20 teens, but it's an amazing fresh fragrance. The thing I love about Gentleman, the Gentleman line, is it's very seductive. Even their more sporty fragrances like this kind of have this seduction and allure to it. And it's typically like incense or iris or smokiness. The vetiver, yeah, just the combination here. That incense and vetiver really work nicely together, but somehow it still comes off sporty. This is an excellent fragrance, and you can get it for around the $40 price point. Probably on Fragrance Buy, you can get it even cheaper, probably in the 30s. What's your recommendation for a date night dry weather in the Sahara? So desert romance is what you're looking for. All right, give me a quick sec. Okay. All right, buddy. So, if I am in dry weather, okay? Dry weather. And I'm going on a date night I don't care if this is somebody who I am on a first date with, if it's my girl, my wife, whatever. I'm going to give you 3 categories: masculine man, mysterious man, and seductive man. Okay? And it just depends on what you want to be. If you want to play it safe and you just want to smell like a romantic but sporty masculine man, and you want to do it on a budget, look no further than Lattafa's Secret. Cloning Acqua di Gio's Profumo, which is the best Acqua di Gio from the entire line. It beats OG, it beats Profondo. This is about 95% accurate to Profumo. It has that classic Acqua di Gio DNA with the note of incense. But the incense here is not dark, but it darkens the bright Acqua di Gio DNA to have a little bit more of mystery seduction to it. So it puts it more in the date night category, but it's also very safe because it's like sporty seductive. More sporty masculine with the tiniest touch of seduction. If I want mystery, hyper romantic, I'm going with Jesus de Pozo's Halloween Man Shot. This bottle's extremely hard to find for a discount, but if you're willing to pay the $30 to $40 price point, you can get 100 ml. I went on the fragrance groups in Facebook, Facebook groups for different fragrances, and a guy sold this to me for $20, 100 ml, and it's got almost all of the juice in it. To me, Halloween Man, the purple bottle, is one of the most, it's got an Invictus vibe to it. It is one of the most versatile, fresh fragrances of all time, the purple bottle. It's very everyday, any season, any reason, any casual occasion. But when we talk date night, when we talk seduction, allure, sweetness, but incensey, but woodsy, it's masculine with a good 30-40% sweetness and incense. Your girl's going to want to get real cozy with you. The sillage is seductive. It doesn't jump across the room, but it pulls the girl in. She's going to be all up in your coat, snuggling with you, making eye contact with you randomly. It's just a sweet, incensey, but hyper fresh, vanillic fragrance. Halloween Man Shot, one of the most slept on romantic fragrances of all time. This is an any season, any reason fragrance that is dry enough to wear in dry weather, but seductive enough to feel like a cold fragrance. You know what I'm saying? Now, to me, Halloween Man Shot is the best fragrance in the line, but it's not the most versatile. This is specifically romance, seduction, and mystery, whereas the purple bottle is just the most versatile fragrance of all time. It's quite the difference between Acqua di Gio OG and Profumo. Both sporty, one's seductive. Now, if you're going to be a complete romancing beast, we have to talk about Iris. Okay? But we're not going to talk Dior Homme Intense, because Dior Homme Intense is too powdery. Dior Homme Intense is in my top 5 best fragrances of all time for a man. I love powdery Iris, but you're in the desert. So I have to think about things like warm weather, even though it's nighttime. Like I'm in Arizona, so even at night right now, it's in the high 90s. We need to soften that Iris a bit so we still have the seduction, but we're in dry, hot weather. So we need to be a little bit lighter, sweet. So we need to go something instead of Dior Homme Intense. We need to go Dior Homme Parfum, which is more of a dustier, airier Iris. Less powder, but still powdery. So we're going to look no further than one of the best clones of DHP I've ever put my nose to. For $20, this is from the House of FOMO, and it is Gary's Den Le Parfum. A 95% accurate clone of Dior Homme Parfum. Dusty Iris. What are we talking about here? Actually, I can't even say that it's this DNA. Fraghead. I think they'll have it here. Fraghead. Oh, I can just type Gary's Den, I think. Yeah. Let's be more accurate to what the actual note profile is. Up top, we have lavender and bergamot. In the middle, we have a dusty iris, labdanum, cardamom, and coriander. And in the base, you just have a perfect, very familiar rendition of vanilla, amber, vetiver, musk, cedar, and patchouli. And you get all of those. But what you get with Gary's Den is very noticeable note of this dusty iris. It still has the powder, but it's about 50% less powder than DHI. So it's got a slightly fresher take on the iris, but it is just absolute pure seduction. So if you ask me what's a beautiful romantic fragrance when I'm out in the desert, even though this leans better in colder weather, I would still break out the dusty iris rather than the powdery iris if you're going for pure romance and seduction. You find the excuse for it. You make sure you go indoors, even if you're in the desert. If you have a little bit of aeration, you can lean it into a warm weather fragrance, and because it's lighter than the powdery DHI. So yeah, those are my 3 fragrance. Playing it safe and sporty with a little bit of seduction. Sacrat, Acqua di Gio Profumo, Halloween Man Shot. If you're going for Mystery Man with a touch of seduction, if you're going for pure romantic vibes and you're going out to eat, you're taking her out and you want that seduction quality, but you can't go all the way in with that powdery iris, hit the dusty iris off and go Gary's Den. I'm going to sign off for the night, but I just want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in. I really appreciate you guys. I have tried Mont Blanc Legend EDP, by the way, epic, and it's a great fragrance. White bottle, absolutely love it. Novice Knows, what up, bro? Hey, listen, today was my test stream trying to do my computer streaming, my computer streaming through YouTube. So we can actually do Wheel of Fragrance now vertically live and do pre-recorded long form content with this and still be able to pull up fragrances online and play the wheel. So I'm super excited to have you on the show to do a live version of the game show as well. I could put you and me on the screen and switch between the notes and all that good stuff. But guys, thank you so much for rocking with me. I represent a channel called The Scent Bubble. Again, I want to make this known again. Hundreds of people have tuned into my live tonight, but only 24 people liked it. So if you guys are still around, please do me a favor and like the video. It makes it so that I'm gonna tell you guys some secrets. Every time I've gone live, I've gotten hundreds of more viewers. It was like 500, then 1,200, then 1,400, and then last time it was almost 4,000. Let's continue to break that by sending more people to the channel so that when you guys are in the chat while we're running these game shows, you have people to talk to. A lot of times my chat feed is going so crazy that I can't see everything. But if you have people participating in the chat, a lot of times you guys can have conversations with each other, and I can get to I can jump in and out of that conversation. But make sure you tune in. We used to drop episodes every single day. Now the long form content is coming out every Monday and every Wednesday. So we have an episode dropping tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And then in the opposite days, we are going live to do the game show, to do fragrance Q&A, and also to do my conceptual long form content, and also posting reels every other day. So make sure you smash that like button, but more importantly, turn on the notification bell and get some great fragrance content. I'm going to be reposting this video tonight as soon as I sign off. So if you missed parts of the stream and want to get fragrance Q&A, or even just see how the game show worked, see how the wheel worked here, make sure you guys check that run back and ask any questions that you have in the comments section. Again, this is the Scent Bubble. I appreciate you guys and hope that you guys have a blessed week. And with that being said, we are signing off. Love y'all, man.